Have you checked the children? You're a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Howdy folks, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Robert Duell.
And you got Jaime and Fuego here for another patron request. This is from our girl, Ms. Marie.
Woo!
We extend a grande gracias from me and Robert, obviously, for just the constant support of the show. And this is a brand new film, actually. It just came out in 2020.
Yep.
It's abbreviated as M.O.M, but it's for Mothers of Monsters, and it is a found footage film, so just be forewarned about that. I have mixed feelings about this sort of approach to filmmaking. I don't often care as much for found footage. What about you, man?
Same.
Yeah.
Same here. That's why, honestly, I have never watched a Cloverfield movie. I am not a found footage film guy. Even the Blair Witch, it took me a good solid 10 or more years after it even came out to even watch that.
Yeah, I can appreciate the influence and the impact
Exactly.
that Blair Witch had for filmmaking and stuff, but really, I mean, stuff that I like for found footage is like, maybe it was a season 1 or season 2 review that was done for a Barry Levinson film called The Bay, where they actually incorporate in like news footage and just stuff besides people running around with the
that's
handheld.
the good type
you know?
of like found footage film.
That's where
that
it's a
would
little
kinda
more
get me into it.
ambitious,
Yeah.
and when they blend different sorts of stuff together.
Yeah.
This one wasn't really that case though. I didn't hate it though. As far as overall impressions go, it did keep me guessing, which I will give them some credit for as far as the scripting goes, because it's really trying to figure out if this woman is nuts, if her son is nuts, if they're both nuts. I mean, it does at least keep you on the edge of your seat in that regard as far as the clarification goes, but I can't say I particularly cared for either of those two leads performers. So I don't know. I sometimes sympathized with one and then the other, but in the end, they're both not the most awesome characters.
They're not very likable.
Yeah, they're both rather flawed, and I know that was the intent by design. But I mean, I didn't hate it. It did a few interesting things with the storytelling that I will give them credit for, and you get some Ed Asner in there for just a tiny bit. So it's always nice to see him. But no, I didn't despise it, but it's definitely not a film I would really recommend unless you're like a die-hard found footage person. So
yeah, I'm pretty much on the same boat as Fuego and everything. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. Like, I'm still pretty in that gray area. Like, it wasn't like, I can see the appeal and everything of this movie to some people and everything like that. But it was really like, it was really just our characters, I think, that was really just kind of more pulling me out of this. Just like, it was at times just very over the top,
deliberately too.
Yeah,
almost
it's like
to the point of feeling like a movie as opposed to watching a real story.
Exactly. And you think it's like, how the fuck is this actually going to happen in real life? There's no damn way that a mother is going to let this go on this long and do all this stupid shit
with all the warning signs,
and literally making things worse for everybody else in this entire scenario.
Yeah. But I mean, it's because of her own mental illness too.
It
which
is
rather apparent.
It is and everything.
So,
it's her self-paranoias and everything like that, and basically inability to open up and figure out what's going on with, you know, her son and things like that. Because also too, he does have a lot of anger issues. He has violent tendencies.
He's an
and
angsty
things like that.
teenager, you know? And although he looks like he's in his mid-20s and he's supposed to be playing a high school student, which always cracks me up when we get that.
It's like animes and everything.
We get it all the time, though.
Yeah. But no, overall thoughts, like, it wasn't a terrible movie. I can see why people do like this and everything like that, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah, and I mean, we've touched a decent amount on story already, but really it's about a mother who thinks her son might be either becoming a serial killer, maybe he's just on the path, can she avert things, but you also get some backstory about the fact that she had a traumatic incident when she was a kid, and so that's why she is so worried about the possibility of this happening with her son, and the situation just escalates as she starts doing surveillance work of like, she puts cameras all through the house, plus she's got her little like video diary thing going on as well. So I mean, she fills the entire home with this stuff, and as the situation escalates and the kid gets more suspicious of what's going on, that's when in the third act we can't really reveal where it goes without spoiling, but that is at least where the film became significantly more interesting for me.
Exactly.
Was in the third act when you get some of those twists, but really beyond that, it was such a slog to even get there.
It was, yeah. The first, 2 halves and everything, it was definitely a chore to burn through that. And then once we got to that final third act and things started ramping up and you saw all the shit that was going on between both of them, it's like, well, you both need to go figure your shit out.
Yeah, but it was still pedestrian in getting to that point. And I mean, okay, yes, the kid is into, like Nazi type imagery, and he's going and he's looking into buying guns and he's throwing bricks off the freeway and doing stuff like that. But I mean,
no two parties in this are innocent at all.
No,
like they both are extremely flawed characters. But it's each other's paranoia is what basically in retrospect ruined both of them.
Yeah, and it's a good segue in that regard to the acting, because of the fact that since we have these 2 leads who are pretty much like 90% of everything is just one of them, that's a lot to shoulder. And unless the performance is really stellar, you're gonna have boredom start to set in. You're gonna have redundancy. Only the most skilled of actors can shoulder that sort of load. And dare I say, I don't think either of these 2 were that up to the task.
No,
it wasn't terrible, but they didn't wow me.
Yeah, they're basically they held me enough just to want to know what the end game was.
Yeah, and that was more so just the curiosity about the scripting and just wondering what was going to happen, as opposed to
how far are both
so
of these going to take this and everything. Because again, like I gotta say, like the mom in this, like no two characters in this really are innocent. Like they both are putting their own paranoias on each other, and it's backfiring and creating more tension and more problems and
Yeah, and we do get some clarification about a lot of things, from our mother's past to just the extent of the intention of the son and all this other stuff. But really beyond that, I mean, we've covered acting, we've covered story.
Yeah, there wasn't really much for effects and everything like that. Like even for like some things that we did get, it was cutaways, and mainly you got just like some sound effects. That's really about it.
Yeah, I mean, we get a little bit of like some blood and some stuff as the situation escalates in the third act, but without really spoiling too much. I mean, it really, I don't know, the film had a good intention though, which I would give them that, because of the fact that at the very end, as the credits are getting going, they have a disclaimer with information about just mental illness and depression and just different places you can consult for that. They have both a number and a website, if I recall correctly. And I also, as far as music goes, even though the kid was blasting like metal and stuff and hardcore rap and whatnot, there was actually a very thought-provoking hip-hop song that was in the closing credits that actually had some decent points to make about mental illness and things of that nature. So I'll at least give the film credit for its intention, even if the execution wasn't, at least to my liking, as much. So
I'm pretty much there with you.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
Other than, anything else we want to really touch on?
I think that's the extent of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
like our cinematography was, it's found footage.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
It's
and
handheld,
like that.
and it's like, the surveillance from hidden cameras within a home, and that's really it. Although I must say, I was satisfied by the ending. I honestly
was too. I really like that, because
once it finally got there, I was like, okay, this movie has its merits.
Because he's looking at it basically like, oh shit.
After the 911 call and the deliberation of the character without spoiling anything specific, I mean, that scene kind of chilled me. I must admit, the ending of the film really knocked it home.
Yeah,
so.
But at the same time, didn't help the matters.
Nope.
I don't care if you had an apology video or not.
Yeah. Well, Ms. Marie, thank you so very much, and just for once again the support and suggesting M.O.M. Mothers of Monsters. It is, I think it's on Amazon Prime.
Yep, it's free on Prime and everything. So it is worth.
If you're into found footage and if you're into the whole serial killer paranoia subgenre, I mean, it might be worth a look for you, but it's just, this is not so much my personal cup of tea. So.
Likewise.
Okay, coolness, everybody. But
I think that'll about do it today and everything here at the Horror Show.
Indeed. If you want to become a patron yourself, we got links below, yo.
Yes. Don't forget to hit that like button. Ding that bell so you see all our pretty faces, get all those nice notifications.
We appreciate it.
Indeed.
Hell's Yizzle, man. And I guess until next time, Fright fans, I've been Jaime and Fuego.
And I'm Robert Duell.
And remember, stay scared.